Reba here. Welcome back to Gooseberry Homestead. Well, here I go saving plants from Walmart again. Well, there was some broken off pieces of some succulents, and they had some succulents for like super cheap. So I picked up some succulents for $1.24, which is pretty cool. And I was looking under the mats in the succulent areas and picking up the little bits that were on the ground, and I'm going to stick them in the ground and see if they'll root. They say that they root pretty easy, so hopefully that's the case. I've already given them a drink of water before I came home, and so they were looking nice when I was getting in my car. And so after I'd done some of my shopping, I went to Walmart and the dollar store, or the Dollar Tree. And so yeah, so I've got this over here because I took some babies off of here and planted them in one of my containers, and I'm kind of changing up some of my containers. I'm wanting to move the majority of my herbs into the gray pots and just let those be for herbs, and so that way I can free up some of my other pots for lettuces and that sort of thing later in the future. Right now I'm growing beets in some of them, and some kohlrabi and possibly celery root. I can't remember if I planted any of those. I don't know. I didn't plant any of that in my on the fence over here. So pardon my messy table. It is a complete disaster here. I've got the drill out because I was drilling holes in the bottom of planters, and it's a complete mess, but it won't take long. Yeah, I got some snacks, some things at the Dollar Tree. Yeah, and I got rid of all of those bins that I had over here that had all of those flowers in them, so I got those all sorted for the church. Now I'm finishing up with all the ribbon in the rest of these clear boxes and that sort of thing. I'll be sorting them out, divvying it up, keeping what just a little bit for myself, and then donating the rest of the ribbons to the church. But I've got to wash them first because there's a little bit of a funky smell in some of those ribbons, and so just kind of want to just get the old smell out and just freshen them up a little bit. So anyways, but back to the gardening. So anyways, I got these little succulents here. My neighbor gave me this one the other day, and she gave me this pot that it's in, and the dirt is very loamy, very sandy soil. My soil in my yard is actually completely different than the soil in her yard. So I don't know. I've got a little bit more of a really nice soft powdery dirt here, but it's not this sandy. Hers is really gritty and really sandy, but I think that might be good for the succulents. So yeah, this is a really cute little pot that she gave me, and she put the little chick into here for me. And then I had gotten this one at another place, and then I got all these ones today that I'm going to all transplant into here, and we'll see how the magic of things rooting and taking off go. So we'll have a full pot when it's all said and done, once it all fills in. So this will go by my front door. You guys have seen the purple sage the other day, the variegated purple sage, super beautiful. I rescued these little rose bushes from Walmart. They were going to throw them in the trash, you guys. If somebody didn't come along and buy them today, they were going to throw them in the garbage, and there were so many of them. They were 88 cents a piece, and this is a jacket to the pot that's inside, and those are actually really kind of cute. And so I'm not exactly sure what color the roses are, but I'll be cleaning these up today and making them look nice. I'm not planning on keeping these little rose bushes, so I'll probably resell them, and after I get them all cleaned up and looking good and healthy again. So probably in about a month from now is when I'll probably sell them. So get them all cleaned up, clip off all the dead roses and that sort of thing. So that's how that's looking. So we're gonna come over here, and I need to wash these bins that were in those trays and get them all bleached out because somebody peed on the carts. I think it's dog urine. It could be human urine. I don't know. But yeah, it was pretty gross. So I need to clean those all with bleach before I put the ribbons back into them. So anyways, so here's what I did, you guys. I went to the dollar store today, or the Dollar Tree, I guess I should say, and I picked up all these purplish pink. It's like in between the pink colored pots that I have on my fence line and the purple pots I have over here. So it's in between those two purpley pinks. So I got all these purpley pots over here, and they have all my berries in them now. So we've got my one that I think might be a black raspberry here. But like I had told you guys before, in the future, the lady that I got it from, I'd gotten this one here, and that one is supposed to be an orange raspberry. So we will soon see. It's got fruit set on it. I accidentally popped one of the fruits off of my Cascade Delight. I was pretty bummed about it. Just one though, when I was transplanting everything, and I removed the cage, and the cage caught one of the blossoms and ripped it off the plant. I was like, no! And I was feeling the pain. So yeah, so here's that one, and they're all in these purple pots. My OCD can calm down now. I was at the Dollar Tree, and I looked at them, and I was like, you know what? Those look about the same height as the pots that they're in. The bases are just a little bit more narrow, but that's all the dirt that was in the pots, are what you see here already. Some of the pots had a little bit more dirt in them than others, like this one here, and this one here. But for the most part, the dirt's pretty the same height all across. So yeah. Who would have thunk it, you guys? So yeah, so this one is the new raspberry that I just got from Walmart the other day that I cleaned up. This is supposed to be that black raspberry. So we will be keeping an eye on this one. I left the tag on it for now, and I got it a pot. And then this one is the orange raspberry, it's supposed to be, and it is filled out quite nicely. It's getting quite tall. It's pretty straight, so that's good. This one is the Cascade Delight. This one is my Tulamine, and it was growing really nice up straight. And I don't think I'm going to use the cage on it right now. I have this one kind of supporting the Cascade because it kind of like wants to sway, because there's only the one stick coming up from the main plant to begin with. So that's how that's looking. And then here is what I believe might be the double gold root systems from the other raspberry that I had. So we will see if these are double gold in the future. And I lost that other little raspberry that was in that pot all by itself, and something else was coming up with it in the pot. It looked like a type of raspberry or something. So I went ahead and just put it here. I bet you anything it's a stinging nettle, you guys. It looks like a stinging nettle. I'll probably have to remove that. So that's how that's looking. Here are the Snowbank blackberries. I've got them in one of the pots too now. And then my boysenberry, and then my other possibly blackberries. And I've got 3 different varieties in here, and you can tell by the size of the leaves on this one here compared to these. And I was getting some powdery mildew on them, so I cut off a whole bunch of the powdery leaves yesterday, and I need to do a neem oil treatment on this blackberry plant to keep this under control. So yeah, so that's how everything's looking here. I picked up 2 bags of topsoil, and the topsoil here has tons and tons of blackberry seeds in it. So any blackberries coming up out in this mixture here, you guys, it's just gonna get pulled. I'm not keeping them. I'll know when I'm planting. So now I've got all these freed up. One of them busted when I was tossing my things around. That's another reason why I wanted to replace those pots, is because they're starting to get brittle and they're starting to break. I've had them for about 5 years now. And so now I'm just going to grow like carrots and things like that in them, possibly some turnips, or even, that would be great, some turnips, some maybe some rutabagas, or parsnips. That's the one. Carrots and parsnips, that's what I really want. So I'm thinking about that. And then my sister came and she got me 2 little black pots the other day, so I'll probably end up growing some food in those too for my family, just to experiment with container growing with some of these other root crops, because we do have bunny rabbits here, and I kind of want to protect my root crops just a little bit. So that's how everything's looking. My lawn is needing to be mowed massively, but now that I also have my my pots freed up, I can take that olive herb out of this container here and get it potted into something else, and that way the root system from that, it's not taking up all the water from the columer. Now I have been thinking about possibly selling the columers, but probably not right away. Well, I want to wait and see how the fruit tastes on them before I really make a decision on selling them, because we will be moving, and I really want to only just keep what I absolutely love. And I encourage everybody, keep what you absolutely love. You know what I mean? If you don't like the flavor of a fruit, don't be afraid, you guys, to sell it and get rid of it. Somebody else might love that flavor, because everybody has a different palate. We all like different things. And so, like, I know my family, my boys, they love Honey Crisps. So I've got the Honey Crisp. But if I get rid of these, I'm going to have to make sure I invest in another variety that that does well with a Honey Crisp apple tree. So I have to keep that in mind. If I get rid of these 2 apples, I need to make sure I have something that's flowering at the same time as this one. And I don't know if these 2 flower around the same time as this one, since this one did not make any flowers this year. I am suspecting that it will probably try to produce fruit next year. I did lose all of the pears, totally fine. This is a self-fertile pear. However, just like anything else, you guys, even if something is self-fertile, it's always important to have more than one variety of that kind of tree, because they will cross-pollinate one another, and they will actually produce more fruit, and the fruit will be bigger, generally speaking. Not always, but generally speaking. So I'm not too worried, because I do have this pear tree here, and I've got 4 or 3 other little ones in my yard over here, which now I have a couple smaller pots over here, these little black pots, and I can free up those pots for those little pears now. And I'm going to be sending my mom 3 of the chestnut trees. So I mean, oh my word, this street, I'm telling you what, you guys, oh my word. So I'll be giving my mom 3 of the chestnut trees, keeping 4 for my family. That way I have a couple to back up on, and I can always grow more from seed again in the future, so it's not really that big of a deal. So I'm going to be sharing some of these with my mother, and hopefully they'll bear fruit very soon, and that would be really, really amazing. So yeah, and then I do have apples. I'll show you those really quick, you guys, on the columers. The fruit is developing. We've got good size. It's about the size of a quarter in diameter, and then, you know, about the same in height. Some of them are bigger than others. So this one is supposed to be, I believe, the Tasty Red. But again, I haven't decided whether or not I'm selling these yet or not. They would make a really great potted entry tree, or even in the ground entry up to the house, like say on the either side of a walkway. They would be absolutely gorgeous. So I'm not tossing the baby out with the bathwater quite yet with these little trees. I picked the fruit a little bit too soon last year, and so it was a little bit tart, which I loved, but it would have been nice to wait until the fruit was really ready. I had to tug on the apple to get it off the tree, so it wasn't quite ready yet. Here in my region, it's really hard for apples to come to full maturity. And so they do better on the eastern side of Washington, where the majority of the apple tree orchards are, because they get really nice hot summers over there. Here we get kind of more of a milder summer. We do get pretty warm in the house here because we don't have AC. But yeah, but so here's how the other one is looking. It's like almost 6 inches taller than the other tree. This one isn't loaded quite as much with fruit as the other one. And so we'll just be keeping an eye on this one. This one did not make any fruit last year, so I'm not surprised that this one did not set very much fruit. Being as this one, I had 2 blossoms last year on it, and not very much fruit set. But we got some fruit. Looks like someone's gonna set back over here. We got this one here, so there is some fruit on this one. And that kind of explains why it is growing quicker and taller, is because it doesn't have quite as much fruit set on it. And so it's putting a lot of energy into growth rather than feeding those fruits. So this one's got quite a bit of fruit on it this year. A lot of has naturally fallen off, and I was cool with that. Some of them have 2, some of them have 3 per thing. This fruit right here looks a little bit deformed. I'm not quite sure how I'm liking that. It looks kind of weird and wonky. This one's got 3. This one's got 2. This one is not forming right. Yep, and it came off. So go ahead and don't be afraid. That I did not tug on that, you guys. That just fell right off. So just kind of looking around, 2 on that one here, 1 there. So I mean, we've got a small handful of fruit on this year. This is more of like, if you live in an apartment or you're living in a real urban, like city type home, these Collamer trees are excellent for that. You could fit these easily on a balcony patio in an apartment, or even putting it next to your front door. Sometimes you're able to do that in an apartment as well, and have like a little like entryway plant next to your unit. Just depends on the apartment complex and and where you live. Some apartments don't let you do that, but the majority of the apartments I've lived in over the years, there's generally been enough space for you to put a potted plant right there, and these would work perfect for that, like an entryway. And you got to keep in mind sunshine and that sort of thing, and you do want to have at least 2 apple trees to help pollinate. Now these ones were kind of spread out a little bit with when they were blooming. This one was blooming well after this one, so I'm having a feeling these were mismarked in the store, because I got 2 varieties that were supposed to bloom at the same time, and they're about almost 2 weeks apart from each other with their blooming, and so they really needed to be closer. So yeah. And then this apricot is a self-fertile apricot. Apricots kind of can be that way, and we only got 1 fruit on it this year. Again, some of these, like the majority of them, I had the Collamers last year, but the rest of these fruit trees are all new additions this year, and all the taller ones anyways. And you guys, they kind of had a rough start this year. The apricot tree is doing amazing. I'm going to do the root ball method on this top branch here and try to see if I can get a tree started on this, a separate tree on this part right here. Trim it down so it's kind of the same height and everything. And I want to kind of keep it kind of small. And you can do this, guys, with your pruning, because, I want it to be in the container pot. And then once we get to our property, I will allow the trees to, get bigger. I probably won't let this pear tree get too much taller, because I already almost can't reach the top of it already. So I'm gonna encourage more growth down below, if it'll put on anything down there. My Honeycrisp it's almost as tall as me already, so you can see the top here. It's about the tip of it comes to the bottom of my top lip. So I'm about 5'2", and well, I'm actually 5'2", not about. I'm 5'2". Okay, I did the measurements. So I was saying I was 5'1.5" for many years, and that half an inch, when you're short, you just want to add it. And then I measured myself, and I come to find out, you guys, I'm actually 5'2", and I haven't shrunk yet. So praise the Lord. One day I probably will. But anyways, yeah, so it's growing a good foot already from here up. So it's looking great, you guys. All my little apple trees down here are doing really, really great and amazing. And so everything's looking pretty good. I don't know what this is. I got one here and this one, and I've got one with my European cherry plum over here. They look like some sort of little tree. And, you know, I did have that mulch, for those leaf mulch from my friend's house that had those little maple trees. They don't really look like maple tree leaves, but I might look them up to have 2 of them popping up in my pots. But yeah, and I got sweet alyssum planted in here. It's the royal carpet variety, so it's pinky colors. So can't wait to see that. My crab apples looking good. And I probably have quite a few crab apples because of growing the apple trees from seed. We'll just have to wait and see. Time only can tell whether or not I've got something good on my hands or not. So yeah. And then all of my other little trees are doing good. I got blackberries coming up all up and everything here. Got my little fig tree here. So everything is looking pretty darn good, you guys. And now that I'm pretty much done showing you guys everything for the day, I'm going to go ahead and tackle those little rose bushes that I have over here. They are looking a little bit like they need some TLC, and that dog is going crazy. I bet you that deer's out in the forest, or somebody's walking through the forest. So anyways, I did some trimming on this tree the other day. It looks like this tip part died. I don't know what's going on. I need to keep an eye on this. But yeah, I did some pruning on this tree, and everything is looking pretty good for the most part. I trimmed it back, and so I just want to keep the best parts of the tree. There was a lot of dead ends, so yeah. So we'll just keep an eye on it. We've got fruit forming here, which is really awesome. So we'll have some nectarines. It's supposed to be cling free. But anyways, you guys, thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Click that bell button. And as always, you guys have a wonderful day, and God bless you all. Bye.